However, all of this gets adjusted even more when there's a reassessment. And so every 3 years in Cook County, there's a reassessment that takes place in the county, and it's broken down into 3 sections of Chicagoland. So number 1, we have Chicago proper, and then we have the north and northwest suburbs and south and southwest suburbs. So every 3 years, one of those areas is going to be reassessed. So last year was the reassessment window for the south and southwest suburbs. So in 2023, the county went around. They used to drive around, but now they sort of go based off of data and images. And in some cases, they'll drive there, and they'll determine whether or not the property has had any visible improvements, any permits pulled, anything that would potentially increase the assessed value of a property. They'll also determine if something the opposite has happened, if it's been vacant or if it's been demolished or anything like that. But more commonly, assuming none of those things have happened, in the south and southwest suburbs last year, the county, determined that, as you might expect because of the property values, that most of the suburbs have increased in value. And therefore, the assessed value has gone up. So where, as real estate professionals, we come in is that might be more than 100, that might be more than 5%. And in the contract, we're only accounting for about a 5% adjustment. But we know in certain south and southwest suburbs that it's going to be more than 5%, and it was. And so we can see in the assessed value that there may be a 33% increase. It's not outrageous. I mean, it seems like a lot, but most of Chicagoland has dealt with that kind of increase, in part because of the increase in home prices, but also in part to the fact that, in certain communities, there were improvements to a local high school or, other improvements in the area that have to be paid for through property taxes, whether it's a library, school, whatever it is.
So even though they assess it a certain way, your home may not have increased by 33%.
It is true, yeah. It's true that because there are other factors that'll determine. So the assessed value is one of 3 factors that determines your tax bill. There's also the equalization factor and the tax rate. So the equalization factor is sort of a more general, statewide number that gets adjusted, but the tax rate is something that's a little bit more local.
And is the equalization where all the politicians share the difference equally?
It does seem like that sometimes, especially if you look in the parking lot. But I think the equalization factor, over the years, it's been used to adjust the amount of money that comes in from tax revenue if, for example, home prices have gone down. And there have been times where someone will say, well, my taxes went up a third because my home price went up, but 10, 12 years ago, that wasn't the case when home prices went down. My taxes didn't go down 50%, but my home was 50% less. So sometimes the other numbers get tweaked a little bit to make sure that the county still has and can maintain its services and everything that it provides. But just from a professional standpoint, what we want to look at is, so that was the south and southwest suburbs. If you were in the north and northwest suburbs, 2022, that bill came out last year in 2023, you're probably great. You know what the tax bill is, and that's not going to change until 2025. The bills for that will come out in 2026. Last year, however, with south and southwest suburbs, those bills aren't out yet. The 2023 bills will come out this year. And more importantly, any change in the assessed value will come in the second half of 2023. So we're really looking at fall, winter of 2024 to find out what our tax bill really is going to be. So it does mean that it takes a little bit more analysis to determine what the tax proration might be.
So